Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. I apologize for that misfortunate. I apologize for the misfortunate tech problem that I had earlier. Let's try this again. This is RonyiQ. I just wanted to tap on a couple of things in the news that I don't see on the for-profit media being talked about a lot. So if you would like to help me reach my goal, feel free to tap on that goals because my goal is to impart with you something that you may not be familiar with because you have not heard about it on the media, which is strongly uh, omitting a whole lot of important factors. So, I just want to talk to you about several things this morning. One of the first things I also want to do is to share my Black History Month presentation. So, this is Black History Month, and we do know that this administration is trying to quell all Black history representation. So I want to make sure every day that I go live that I represent a piece of Black history. So this link will be found in my description box under Black History.
Tonight in Eye on Chicago, 40 acres and a mule was a post-Civil War promise made by the U.S. government to formerly enslaved African Americans. The idea was to provide parcels of land and a way to make a solid living.
But that promise was never fulfilled. Now, as we celebrate Black History Month, Sade Gray introduces us to a woman who responded to that broken promise with success.
Liz Abuno is the owner of 40 Acres Fresh Market in Chicago's Austin neighborhood. She's sassy, she's smart, and she pulls no punches.
What would it look like if we actually got our 40 acres?
In Liz Abuno's eyes,
I wanted an open space.
it would look just like this. A Black, woman-owned grocery store.
I wanted to harken back to an era in time, but also make it timeless with like an elevated modern feel.
40 Acres Fresh Market is at the corner of Chicago and Waller, and it stands out. The metal exterior is bold with 45-degree angle panels and trapezoidal windows.
This place used to look like a prison. It was a Salvation Army thrift store, and it had like a small little entrance. There was no windows. It was just all CMU block. And so one of the things that I had in my mind when it came to design was that you have to open it up. This is our beautiful produce department.
Hello. When you walk in, Abuno wants you to step back in time with modern general store vibes.
For the decor in this place, I wanted it to feel like a 1950s ice cream shop.
Abuno opened the grocery store last year in September with a lot on her list and a lot to learn. She credits years at General Mills for helping her get the ball rolling.
Grocery is not complicated, but it is complex. And there's a lot of small, simple things that you have to do all at the same time.
She says it's the only fully functioning grocery store in the Austin community. For years, people living here had to drive to faraway neighborhoods, even the suburbs, to shop.
Look around us. The mayor lives on the next block. The man can afford food. But until we got here, he had to go into Oak Park to get food.
While she doesn't like the term food desert, she acknowledges that when it comes to food options, there's vast inequality among communities. It's something she felt the need to address.
You know the saying, when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail? So for me, the only tool I have is grocery. So any problem I see, I'm like, grocery will solve that.
For those who live in the Austin neighborhood, like Samuel Cora, it's a sigh of relief to have a grocery store in walking distance.
Rather than me having to drive 20 minutes away to go find a potato, I can just come here. I was here the other day because I needed some cilantro, and my daughter wanted juice. So I was like, I'll be right back.
The symbolism of 40 acres means a lot to Hanaya King.
Not only are we getting our 40 acres, but we definitely are getting a mule when we got our meats up in here, and it looks healthy. All of our food looks like it isn't just a look, but it's a real taste.
Obunu's 40 acres is small but mighty, competing against much bigger retailers and succeeding.
If we're charging the same prices as other grocery stores, that means we're doing it right. That means we're competitive. That means we're in line.
Obuno says 40 Acres is not the first Black-owned grocery store, but she says she's proud to walk in the footsteps of those who came before her. Sade Gray, CBS News, Chicago.
What a gem in that neighborhood.
Yeah, she's impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Afford.
Hey, Queen Diva, it is good to see you. Okay, that link can be found in my description box under Black History. We do know that our health is directly uh, attributed to the diet that we have. We also know that in many Black neighborhoods, there are food deserts. There are people who can only get unhealthy foods. There are people who are actually on food stamps that the only food that they can buy is that prepared food at convenience stores and bodegas, meals that, first of all, are unhealthy for your body and which will bring on, hypertension, diabetes, and all of these ills, all of these chronic illnesses that will shorten your life. And additionally, they are also more expensive, and you will blow through. If you're on food stamps, you will blow through your allotted food stamps and way prior to the end of the month. So it's a vicious cycle. So it is always good to have a grocery store in neighborhoods. But unfortunately, these food deserts have become a norm in many poorer and Black communities. Now, I'm not saying that all Black communities are poor. I mean poor communities and Black communities. And therefore, people have gotten out of the habit of even understanding how to prepare a meal, how to shop for a meal, how to shop for meats, fruits, and vegetables that will actually last them, to how to reimagine any leftovers, how to portion their food properly. If you cook at home yourself, your dollar goes a whole lot further than it does in going to these uh, fast food restaurants with these empty calories that are only getting your body sick. So I wanted to give a shout out to this woman in Black History Month, and I encourage you guys to if you don't shop and cook for your own meals, I encourage you to try that. So let's see what else I want to talk about. I also would like to talk about 4547 seems to be putting the United States on a path of war again with Iran. Now, I don't understand, and he has not been able to even enunciate why it is that we're going to war with Iran. So, if you understand, the last time that the United States struck Iran, 4547 said he had obliterated all of their nuclear advanced nuclear program where they were trying to enrich uranium to create nuclear weapons. He said that it was all obliterated. And when other people in the military tried to hold back on that comment. They were like, "How dare you disagree with what Trump said without any evidence of what he's saying? You go with the Führer, and whatever the Führer says happened, that is what happened." Now, all of a sudden, we are going to strike Iran. Why? We're going to strike Iran because Israel want us to strike Iran. This is why we're striking Iran. We are not striking Iran under any pretense of them having nuclear weapons or anything like that. How could we be? When your president told you they obliterated their whole nuclear program. So surely we cannot be going to strike Iran again. So it is estimated that the United States will be striking Iran once again with your American bodies, the bodies of American military, with your treasure. They have amassed a whole fleet, the largest aircraft carrier in the United States is now over there ready to strike Iran. You remember when that largest aircraft carrier was in the Caribbean to strike Venezuela? It seems like America has a abundance of money to do all of these fights that do what for the American people. How do the American people gain anything? What improvement of the American life do all of this waste in military expenditures do for you and how you live your life is what I need to know. Or do you know? No comment? Nobody knows? Sure, you know. It doesn't. Okay, so let me share this link with you. Let me Let me share a couple of links with you on this war in Iran. Here we go.
Dr. Parsi, while we have you, there's some major developments here. Let's put C1 up here on the screen. President Trump apparently told Prime Minister Netanyahu, this is according to CBS News, he would support an Israeli strike on Iran's ballistic missile program. This was back in December, not necessarily indicative of the latest meeting that just happened between Prime Minister Netanyahu and between President Trump. What do you make, let's say, both of the news itself and of the timing of the leak for when it's coming out right now?
Clearly, something happened on December 29th of last year when Netanyahu, almost 6 months to the day, came back to the US and said, hey, let's have another war with Iran. But what we saw immediately after that was not that the Israelis would take the lead, but rather that the US would take the lead. In fact, take a look at Netanyahu's profile on this issue. Since then, up until just a couple of days ago, he was staying completely quiet. He was letting Trump take the lead. He was avoiding an impression that Israel is the country pushing the US into war because Trump essentially took full ownership of the war and was in the lead of doing an attack.
So understand, we must understand that the last time that the United States struck Iran, they struck Iran after Israel struck Iran. We must understand this time, though, the United States is going ahead and striking Iran first. But you hear what happened in December, that he was told by Netanyahu to strike Iran. And why do you think that he is doing what he's told when the United States is the one who gives Israel billions of dollars? We uphold Israel, all of which whom citizens have full universal health care. The United States, who is kicking their citizens off of health care, millions of citizens off of health care, while giving Israel all of this money, and Israel is telling us who to spend our blood and treasure on and strike. Why do you think that it is so easy to do this to 45-47? Could it be that 45-47 is a compromised president? Could it be that he's compromised? Now, we understand that this administration would rather do anything than to release all of those Jeffrey Epstein's files. If I don't know if you watch more independent media as opposed to this for-profit media, who is putting out a state-sponsored accounting of what's going on in the United States and ignoring what they don't want the United States citizens to understand. If it has been reported that Jeffrey Epstein was an Mossad agent. A Mossad is kind of like the CIA of Israel. So, if that is true, do you not think that Jeffrey Epstein has dirt on 4547? And if he is a Mossad agent, do you not think that Israel might have dirt on 45 and 47? Do you not think that that is possible? Or do you think? Do you think at all? Do you even know this type of information? It has also been reported that while Ghislaine Maxwell claims that there are no recording devices in Epstein's house, we see the cameras in the corners of his house on pictures, and it has been reported that the camera system was put in by either people from Israel or people from Mossad, which would be the same thing. So it is absolutely in the Epstein files that Jeffrey Epstein was waiting on people who worked with Israel to put security cameras in his home. So, are we clear on having a president, a secretary of defense, any people high up in our administration who can be blackmailed is a problem? Compromise means you can be blackmailed. So, Pam Bimbo said that she is not giving the U.S. any more Epstein files. Now, while Todd Blanche came out and said that there are 3 million more pieces of evidence in the Epstein files, but he's not going to give them out, come to find out, actually, the Department of Justice have only put out approximately 2% of the Epstein files. And it is kind of curious how you don't hear some of the disgusting details that have been unearthed in the Epstein files. If you watch for-profit media, you don't hear all of the details that have been unearthed in these files. You never hear this. So do you mean to tell me that the United States is about to spend money and treasure and possibly lives to do what Israel is requesting of the United States? Make that make sense. Now, do you wonder why the United States is taking the lead? Do you wonder why Benjamin Netanyahu is just sitting back after it has been discovered that he was the one in December that was told to tell the United States to make a strike on Iran? He's sitting back because the world has turned their furor on him because of the mass genocide that went on in Palestine. He was surprised that you guys are looking at him some kind of way because what he did to the people in Palestine, what he has continued to do to the people in Palestine. Why do you think that they had this fake ceasefire? Because the world was turning on the obvious lies that were being told about what was going on in Palestine, as children upon tens of thousands of children were constantly losing their lives to the Israeli government. That's why He's sitting back. That's why he has 45, 47 jumble mouth telling the American people and not even really bothering to tell you why he is about to strike Iran. So are we going to World War III because our president is compromised? Is this what we're doing? Now, they're talking about having targeted uh, nuclear strikes. They're actually talking about nuclear, uh, expending nuclear weapons on Iran. So, are we about to go into a nuclear conflict because your president has conflicts with his peen? I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions here. Okay, so let's continue this.
I don't think that is actually what was being said. I mean, it may have been that it was said, but it was not part of the final decision. The final decision was that the United States would take the lead. Said was ago. He was staying completely quiet on December 29th of last year when Netanyahu, almost 6 months to the day, came back to the US and said, hey, let's have another war with Iran. But what we saw immediately after that was not that the Israelis would take the lead, but rather that the US would take the lead. In fact, take a look at Netanyahu's profile on this issue. Since then, up until just a couple of days ago, he was staying completely quiet. He was letting Trump take the lead. He was avoiding an impression that Israel is the country pushing the US into war because Trump essentially took full ownership of the war and was in the lead of doing an attack. So I don't think that is actually what was being said. I mean, it may have been that it was said, but it was not part of the final decision. The final decision was that the United States would take the lead. The reason why I think this is now being leaked, incidentally, by CBS, and you can draw your own conclusions about that, is because of an effort to sabotage the talks that are taking place and the next round that will take place tomorrow in Geneva. The Iranians have made it absolutely clear there's not going to be any restrictions, or at least limitations on the size of their missile program. This is the only deterrence they have left against Israel. For them to dismantle their missile program means that they would be completely defenseless against Israel, and Israel has shown its ability or its willingness to attack any country that is defenseless against it. So for them to leak this at this...
So we understand that the Obama administration had Iran to sign a nuclear proliferation deal that they would not try to create a nuclear weapon that was for a warhead, and they had UN inspectors going in to actually check their nuclear facilities on a regular basis. We understand that Iran had already agreed to a nuclear agreement. And we also understand that the insecure 45-47 in his first administration tore up that nuclear deal. So what did Iran have to lose? There was no more security inspectors coming in to inspect what they were doing. And we would be remiss if it hasn't been the past 30 years that Benjamin Netanyahu has been coming to world forum, telling everyone who would listen how Iran was on the brink of having a nuclear weapon in 3 to 6 months for the past 30 years. That has been Netanyahu's plea that I do believe it's 30 years that he has been constantly saber rattling that Iran is on the verge of having a nuclear weapon for 30 years in 3 to 6 months. So now we have no inspectors going into Iran. And now Israel just unilaterally struck Iran. And then who comes behind them but the United States just struck Iran based upon what Benjamin Netanyahu had said. But you said you have obliterated all of their nuclear capabilities. So why are we going back to strike Iran again? So now you're Iran. You have the ability to create weapons to protect yourself. So, what we're saying that upon all of this, we're pretending like we don't see all of this, and say that a country cannot build weapons to protect themselves. Is that what we're saying? See, because we would have to be saying that to hold up all of these. Well, they say death to America all the time. They're always chanting death to America. Um, when have you heard these chants of death to America? And what have the chants about death to America, what effect has that actually had on America? But what have the chance of Benjamin Netanyahu telling the world that Iran is on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon for about 30 years now? What effect has that had on Iran? So Iran is not supposed to protect their country. I mean, I'm just asking, what do we think is going to become of all of this, these lies and rhetorics and excuses to go in and bother a nation who isn't bothering us? What do we think is going to happen? So we just gonna skip away and just go over there at a whole nother nation and drop bombs and skip away and go back home and be safe? Is that what's going to happen? Do would you expect America uh, would you expect America to not attack someone that came over and bombed America? And do you think that it would be okay if America just let them skip back home and we just here to pick up the pieces and the crumbling infrastructure? Well, the infrastructure is crumbling if somebody strikes America or not. Um, they do us a favor if they did something with this infrastructure. Do you think that America would just sit back and let a country come over here and strike them on the word of another country? And America would do nothing to the people who struck them? No, you don't believe that because it doesn't make dog sense. So, what are we creating with all of these unwarranted strike, in my opinion, on Iran? What are we setting America up for? And why? Why is any of this being done? Where are our elected officials? The last time I checked, Congress had to approve wars. Going to war had to be a vote in Congress, and it had to be approved. But we've already struck Iran. We struck Venezuela. We struck Somalia. We struck. We just recently struck. Oh, I can't. Oh, Syria. United States have been on a just strike whoever, whenever we choose to. What are going to be the ramifications of all of this? How much of your treasury is being spent on all of this? The United States are tens of millions of people, tens of millions, not tens of thousands, tens of millions of American citizens are about to lose their health care. Some of the biggest loss in healthcare are scheduled to happen after the midterm election. So while you Americans are walking around thinking everything, well, nothing really changed. They said that we were going to lose our health. We haven't lost our healthcare. Yeah, because it's been scheduled to happen after the midterm election. So they thought that you would vote in this same regime and not understand that your healthcare is going to be taken away after the election because you Americans are so uncurious and believe any bullshit and propaganda to make them feel better because you can believe in black people or undocumented immigrants are the ones that are causing you your problem. So you will continue to vote for the people who are actually causing you your problems. And speaking about causing us some problems, how many of these elected Democrat congressmen and sitting senators are beholden to Israel as well because of all of the APEC money that flows into their campaigns? So we don't even hear any voices of our Democratic leadership. We see Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer holding standing in front of a microphone, holding hands, talking about we support Israel, we support Israel, we support Israel, doing a chant about supporting Israel because they get APEC money from Israel. But where are their voices about really doing something about supporting the American citizens? See, these are the people who are supposed to be fighting for you. Well, all of your government is supposed to be fighting for you. But I'm just telling you, we have got to pay attention to all of these elected officials and who they are beholden to. They are beholden to staying in power. So the effects that are affecting the American citizens won't affect them. And as they stay close to power, if they continue to sit in office of government, they will not, the shit that the American people are going through, they're not going to be going through. Because hell, come hell or high water, your tax dollar is going to pay them $200,000 to $300,000 a year. And surely anybody can get by on that. And if they can't get by on that, they have all the information that they need to do insider trading. So they'll be okay. But how are you going to be? How are you going to be? Motherfuckers sit up and don't even bother to educate themselves on who is representing them and what track record they have and who they are beholden to. People who say they support some a candidate who sounds like they would be a great candidate. Look at what happened to Bernie Sanders. The DNC fucked him out of winning the nomination, talking about it was Hillary Clinton's time. And the whole United States was excited about Bernie Sanders, who talked about doing something actually and factually for the American people. Let's keep it a buck. So at what point are the American people going to stand up for themselves because your government is not standing up for you? Your government is standing up for millionaires and billionaires and people who can keep them in their office seat. That's who your government is standing up for. Okay.
This point seems to be more of an effort to try to sabotage those talks because of the fear that Trump ultimately will agree to this. I mean, first of all, let's keep in mind, Trump didn't even talk about missiles until December 29th.
Right.
So this is not an old American red line. This is a very new red line that is no more than 5 weeks old, and he may be putting it to rest. And this is something then that I think certain elements are trying to sabotage.
There was some also significant reporting from Reuters that we can put up on the screen. They say exclusive U.S. military.
Okay. Hold on one second. Let me be clear with the people in the chat. We can agree to disagree, but there are rules in my chat. Do not curse in my chat, and do not disrespect me. Do not disrespect my mods, and we can agree to disagree, but do not be disrespectful in my chat. Hey, Detach, it's good to see you. Hey, Happy Life. Hey, Chris. We can agree to disagree. Don't be disrespectful. Be an adult. If you do not have the ability to comport yourself as a adult who has a disagreement, please don't write in my chat. because all of this ignorance and all of what you people call is trolling, all of this is absolute ignorance. And this is not the time for people in the United States to uh, feign ignorance and continue to actually be ignorant. But a lot of you pretend like you're trolling. No, you're trolling because you have no substantive argument to counter what is being presented. So if you cannot talk about what's being presented, don't talk. Just listen, or you can leave. You can leave. No one's holding you here.
Preparing for potentially weeks-long Iran operations. U.S. military is preparing for the possibility of sustained weeks-long operations against Iran if Trump orders an attack. Two U.S. officials told Reuters the disclosure by the officials who spoke on condition of anonymity raises the stakes for the diplomacy underway. They say they go on to discuss the buildup in the region and the preparations for what they expect would be a longer, more protracted conflict than what we saw in the previous bombings of Iran. What do you make of this development? Because one of the things that we have been hearing is that perhaps the reason for the delay is just further preparation so that it can be a more widespread or more large-scale military action.
Well, this leak may have had the intent of putting pressure on the Iranians by saying that, the U.S. is ready for a longer war. But it may also have had the opposite intent. It may have had the intent of putting pressure on the administration itself, recognizing, which I think many people in the Pentagon recognize, that Trump ultimately does not want to have a long war. He likes quick, glorious successes. And if he gets dragged into something that is longer, what he tends to do is that he cuts them short and he withdraws, which I think is the right thing to do when you're into something that is not working. But that's not something the Pentagon likes. The Pentagon doesn't like to be sent off into a military confrontation and then be pulled back without having succeeding, particularly if it's only after a couple of weeks. So I think this is also a bit of a warning of essentially saying, don't put us into something that you're not intending to finish. And this will not be finished quickly, and it will not be finished easily, and it will probably drag on much more than weeks, probably months.
Right.
So I think, again, part of the reason why this hasn't happened yet is not that he just didn't have the resources there to pursue it. Even with those resources, we have like a third of the Navy in the Persian Gulf now or in the Arabian Sea. Even with those resources, this is going to take a very long time. And by the way, keep in mind that a couple of weeks is also exactly what they said about Iraq, and it ended up being a decade.
Yes, very, very important point. We have Prime Minister Netanyahu now laying out conditions. Before we even play that, Dr. Parsi, everything about this is giving me the exact same, deja vu of the Iran nuclear deal in 2015. And then a lot of people forget the 2009 crisis with Iran as well, where Netanyahu is working the press, openly trying to push the U.S. into war, intimating that, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it, trying to box in, using the Republican Party. So I do want to set the stage. This is a well-established playbook here from Prime Minister Netanyahu. Now let's actually take a listen to what he says are acceptable conditions, according to him. Let's take a listen.
1 second.
EVE Online is a vast universe.
I said that if a deal is to be reached, it should have several components that we believe are important not only for the security of Israel, but for the security of the world, the United States, the region, the world. The first is that all enriched material has to leave Iran. The second is that there shall be no enrichment capability.
So he says all enriched material has to leave Iran, but they will not say if they have nuclear weapons themselves. So who is he to give all of these directives? All nuclear material. No, you can't have nuclear material to power Iran. I tell you what you are allowed to have, as I take welfare money from the United States and tell them who they must strike.
Not stopping the enrichment process, but dismantle the equipment and the infrastructure that allows you to enrich in the first place.
Well, I thought that we did that the first time we struck Iran. Isn't that what your president told you that they did when we struck Iran last year? That they had totally annihilated their capabilities of enriching uranium, as we are told once again by Benjamin Netanyahu that we must go back and do the same thing that we said we did when we struck them in 2025? Make any of this make sense?
And the third is to deal also with the questions of ballistic missiles. There's an MTCR limitation of 300 kilometers, and Iran is supposed to adhere to it. Of course, it doesn't.
So you have a whole ceasefire agreement with Palestine. Have you been adhering to that? Of course you haven't. So while you're worrying about who is not adhering to what, you have no concerns about you not adhering to your fake ass ceasefire agreement that you guys had all this pomp and circumstance around. The absolute gall.
The Rising Lion operation by itself manifested. Everybody knows that. And the fourth is dismantle the axis of terror that Iran has built. It's been smashed, but it's still there. It's trying to recover, as Iran itself is trying to do. And the last thing is, remember Ronald Reagan?
Iran is trying to recover? Oh, was it, okay. So if a nation have terrorists in their camp, you said it's been smashed, but the terrorist network is trying to recover, and Iran is trying to recover as well. So you mean to tell me the white supremacy in the nation of the United States, if they've been smashed and they are trying to recover, which they are, and which they are doing well under this administration, that the United States shouldn't try to recover as well? Is that what you're saying? Because terrorists are terrorists. Just because this administration took white supremacists and white nationalists off of the top of the terrorist watch list doesn't make them be less terroristic in the United States. Let's continue.
Dictum vis-a-vis the Soviet Union. Trust but verify. Distrust, and always verify. So there has to be real inspections, substantive inspections, no lead time inspections, but effective inspections for all of the above.
What do you mean?
So understand that there were inspections. 45, 47 eliminated the whole program, which included the inspections. Now they are making pretend like the inspections were subpar, and those inspections don't count. But they can't tell you how and for what reason they are making these fucking accusations about the inspections that they were under the agreement that Barack Hussein Obama had the Iranians on. They can't tell you why these inspections that Iran was under were subpar. They can just give you lip service because they want to do what they want to do. And the American citizens, the citizens of the world, are so uncurious, are so unbothered that they do not care what these powerful leaders have in store for them. Because you're too busy with petty ass bullshit, some of you.
Make of that.
Well, as you pointed out, this is exactly what we've seen in the past. Whenever there is any chance of a deal, he goes out and he puts out impossible conditions in order to signal clearly that he will attack the deal if it is made that meets short of these conditions, which it obviously will. These are impossible conditions to reach. These are poison pills that he puts in there in order to sabotage diplomacy. Now, here's where, from my standpoint, is a positive. For about a month, he kept a very low profile. Things were going his way. There was no need for him to be out there saying these things. Then things changed. He came back to Washington, D.C. He apparently did not have a good meeting with Trump. And now he's out there giving these commentary again, which I think should be interpreted as a sign that he's nervous, that he's not in the room, and that he's trying to influence it from the outside. Whereas before, just a couple of weeks ago, he felt confident enough that he did not feel the need to influence it from the outside. That does not mean that chances for a deal necessarily are great or that things will work out. But it does mean, I think, that the type of control that Netanyahu felt that he had up until a week ago is no longer there. And he's back into his old playbook of trying to sabotaging this from the outside.
Yes.
And finally, we wanted to underscore a bit of the bipartisan nature of some of this approach here vis-a-vis Iran. We had some comments from Nancy Pelosi backing up Bessent's desire to cause economic suffering among the Iranian people. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Is there a way to sort of bring about the regime falling without using American force, I guess is the question there?
Well, use economic forces. Yeah. Use economic forces. There are ways that could cripple their economy, and some of that has been in the works.
It does feel very tenuous, though, the regime there.
Chris, I told you to be respectful in my chat. If you had an argument that made sense, you would make the argument. That shows that, in fact, that you are the dumbass. Do not come in my chat talking dumb shit. You fucking piece of dog shit. And there is no such thing as a race card. There are race facts, you bitch. You're mad because people see what is going on in the United States of America. It's no race card. It's racism. You stupid bitch. Now, watch from the clouds, ho, or go make another account because you can't stay away, because you know the truth is being played for you. Libtards. That's all you got is libtards because you're a retard? The fuck out of here.
More than it has in a long time.
I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you. But again, it's not about a threat from war. Hopefully, it's more about just weaken their economy, and that weakens the support they do have, because they do have support in the rural areas and the more conservative imams and all the rest of that. Yeah. But we have to make them feel the pain as well.
Have to make them feel the pain as well. I mean, it reminds of the comments that you just made tying Gaza to Cuba. I think there's a tie in here as well. Not that sanctions on Iran are anything new.
No, and we have to remember during the Obama years, it was called crippling sanctions. Hillary Clinton constantly used the language of crippling their economy. I wrote on Twitter, this was not a slip of the tongue. This is not her accidentally saying that the quiet part out loud. This was always the intent, to get to a state in which you destroy the economy, and as a result, you get people to rise up to overthrow the government. But to do so, you have to make their lives.
In the meantime, the American economy is failing. So when are the American people going to rise up as we see this administration talking in billions about what they are bringing in for themselves and their rich friends and family members, as the American economy is failing, as they're talking about spending billions to go out on wars, to fight wars, as your 4547 says that he is taking 10 billion out of the American Treasury for his world peace bullshit that he is supposed to be sitting on top of. That peace summit thing that is to what is that? That world peace forum that he is supposed to be over, him in Tony Blair, to manage what is happening over in Palestine. Yeah, he's going to take $10 billion of your tax dollars. So when are the American people are going to rise up because their economy is so fucked? But you got people in here talking about libtards, but they can't open their mouths to the facts of what these motherfucking Republicans, of what your government is doing right now today, and acting as this has something to do with liberal politics or not. Talk about the facts that are being presented. You can't, because you're too stupid to talk about what is actually going on in the world, because Fox News haven't given you your right talking points. And Fox News have run out of talking points their damn selves. You know it's bad when Fox News is questioning what is going on in this regime. But you're too stupid to question it. Because if Fox News don't have a little weak question to ask, they don't cover it. Because they want you to remain stupid. Let's continue.
As miserable as possible so that they have no choice but to go out on the streets and risk their lives. But the playbook has been to never admit it, constantly say that the medicine shortage is not because of sanctions, it's because of the regime's incompetence and corruption. And without a doubt, there's a tremendous amount of incompetence and corruption in the Iranian government, for sure. But these type of shortages do not occur by themselves. They do occur as a result of the sanctions. The latest research has made it very, very clear that the sanctions is the triggering thing that really causes the degree to which the economy is collapsing. But you don't admit it until the very end, when you think a regime change is about to happen, because at that point, you want to take credit for it. But up until that point, you do, and you go and you gaslit and you say, well, sanctions have nothing to do with this. Sanctions have nothing to do with the fact that medicine cannot get in. Sanctions have nothing to do with the fact that the currency is collapsing, that the economy is collapsing. But once it does, then you take credit for it because you say that you achieved this.
Well said, sir. Well, thank you so much for joining us, for so much of your time. We appreciate your
Okay, I wanted to share that with you. Let's share a little bit more about these what's going on in Iran, or Iran, whichever way you would like to say it. Let's see what the world has.
Are you looking for the most affordable way
Let's see
to
what
add
the
electric
world
heating?
and how other world leaders are looking at this. Both of these links are in the description box. All of my links are always in the description box. I encourage you to go over and watch some media that is covering this. It is in my description about box under the title "More Strikes on Iran." So let's see how the rest of the world leaders are seeing this foolery.
Regime, and they are now blocked. World leaders are furious at Donald Trump and his despicable regime, and they are now blocking Donald Trump from using their territories to attack Iran. Most notably, the United Kingdom, through its Prime Minister Keir Starmer, just announced the United States will not be able to use any of the Royal Air Force bases across the world, not in the UK, not in Diego Garcia, which is the largest island in the Chagos archipelago. You can touch UK land, Donald, if you're going to use it for attacking Iran. And UK has said that they believe that any invasion of Iran or attack on Iran would violate international law. And of course, pressure should be applied to the Ayatollah. Of course, there should be diplomatic efforts and, all types of pressure, all good. But in terms of a unilateral war, the UK is saying, nope, we are blocking you from using our Air Force bases. And we're seeing that pretty much throughout the entire world. Really, the only ally of the United States right now in any action against Iran, or frankly, in most actions geopolitically, is Israel. It's the US and Israel against Iran. And the United States has moved 2 aircraft carrier groups right by Iran. But other than these aircraft carrier groups, they need permission from even places like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. They need to have allies across Europe help with support and logistics. You really can't just do something like this alone. And I think Donald Trump is seeing that when you alienate and isolate all of your friends and you do this bizarre board of peace thing where you're propping up authoritarian leaders who basically bribe you with quid pro quos. The rest of the world doesn't like that. The Times was the first to report that UK is blocking Trump from using Royal Air Force bases for strikes on Iran. The disagreement over the use of British sites is now behind Donald Trump's withdrawal of support for the Chagos Islands deal. The Times understand. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But here are the Air Force bases that the U.S. needs to use as part of its current military plan against Iran. The Royal Air Force Fairford base inside the UK itself, and Diego Garcia, you see right there, it's part of the Chagos Island archipelago. You see that in the Indian Ocean. And you see why that's very strategically important in terms of attacking Iran. And here's how it's being reported. Starmer is blocking this request by Donald Trump. They believe it is a violation of international law. Now, when Donald Trump held this weird Board of Peace meeting yesterday, he said that he now needs about 10 days to decide whether or not the United States is going to attack Iran. And no doubt, I think a lot of this delay is potentially caused by the fact that countries are blocking, former allies are blocking Donald Trump's use of their territories. They're not providing logistical support. The European Union and others are not sharing intelligence with the United States anymore. This is what you get, Donald. This is a consequence of your attack on the world order and the rest of the world. Here, play this clip.
Nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. Nobody could have had, you couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Now,
we couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So what was all of that pomp and circumstance of this peace agreement between the Palestinians and the Israelis that was never signed by either, and that was never acknowledged? What is all the pomp and the World Peace Board that he's going to put $10 billion of the United States Treasury into, and he's going to be over it, and he's going to be running this money. But are we serious here? Are we absolutely serious with this man? And there is no coming together of your elected officials to get this swindler out of office and all the rest of his administration. There is no serious talk about Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution that will get him and his administration out of office. This is crazy.
Donald Trump is attacking the UK in response and saying that he doesn't support the UK's deal with Mauritius regarding the Chagos Islands. So Chagos Islands, it's an archipelago that you just saw in that other photo in the Indian Ocean. The UK got into this dispute with Mauritius in the 60s. The UK basically peeled off from Mauritius during decolonization, the Chagos archipelago, and had a U.S. military base built on Diego Garcia. The people who lived in Chagos were basically expelled and kicked out, and Diego Garcia has basically been this military base. And now a deal was struck between the UK and Mauritius, basically for Mauritius to technically own Diego Garcia and the Chagos archipelago, but then lease back to the UK for the next 99 years. The archipelago, so technically it would still be under UK control, although owned by Mauritius. That's how they resolved the dispute there. Originally, Marco Rubio came out in favor of this deal. I mean, the U.S. said they supported this because the 99-year lease with Mauritius meant the U.S. could keep its Air Force base on Diego Garcia. But now that the UK is saying you can't use Diego Garcia to attack Iran because it would violate international law, Donald Trump now rips up the deal, rips up his previous statements, and changes course because Donald Trump's word means absolutely nothing. It's just complete and utter trash. So just to give you receipts, back on May 22nd, 2025, Secretary of State Marco Rubio put out the following statement. The U.S. welcomes the historic agreement between the UK and Mauritius on the future of the Chagos archipelago. Remember, Diego Garcia is one of the islands in the archipelago. It's the biggest island in that archipelago in the Indian Ocean. This agreement secures the long-term stable and effective operation of the joint U.S.-UK military facility at Diego Garcia, which is critical to regional and global security. We value both parties' dedication. The U.S. looks forward to our continued joint work to ensure the success of our shared operations. Right? Pretty clear. The U.S. is saying we support you giving back or technically giving ownership back to Mauritius of Diego Garcia and the Chagos Archipelago because the military base is still controlled. But then yesterday, Donald Trump posts, I have been telling Prime Minister Keir Starmer that leases are no good when it comes to countries, and that he is making a big mistake by entering a 100-year lease with whoever it is that is claiming right, title, and interest to Diego Garcia, strategically located in the Indian Ocean. I mean, just think about that statement. Whoever it is. It's Mauritius. It's a country called Mauritius. That's it.
He didn't know whoever it was. That's why he said whoever it was, because he's a fucking idiot. He didn't know who it was.
It is. Is that too difficult for you to understand, Donald? Our relationship with the United Kingdom is strong and a powerful one, and has been for many years. But Starmer is losing control of this important island by claims of entities never known of before. Never heard of Mauritius? Okay. In our opinion, they are fictitious in nature. Should Iran decide not to make a deal, it may be necessary for the United States to use Diego Garcia and the airfield located in Fairford in order to eradicate a potential attack by a highly unstable and dangerous regime, an attack that would potentially be made on the United Kingdom as well as other friendly countries. Prime Minister Starmer should not lose control for any reason of Diego Garcia by entering a tenuous at best 100-year lease. This land should not be taken away from the UK, and if it is allowed to be, it will be a blight on our great ally. We will always be ready, willing, and able to fight for the UK, but they have to remain strong in the face of wokeism and other problems put before them. Do not give away Diego Garcia. And you saw what Rubio said in May, and this is just all about the fact that the UK is saying, no, you can't use our lands to invade Iran. That's what this is all about, and that other nations are blocking the Trump regime as well. And it's important to note that other nations across the world are making their moves to outmaneuver and checkmate Donald Trump as well, right? As the U.S. is engaged in this massive purge of immigrants, basically shutting down the United States and saying, if you're an immigrant, if you want to help our country, get the hell out of here. Contrast this to Canada, what they're doing with their military. Canada is not only just making a push to attract skilled migrants, but also for areas in defense as well. Foreign military recruits from Canada include doctors, nurses, and pilots. Canada aims to reduce its reliance on the U.S. with its new defense strategy that Carney rolled out earlier this week. And express entry will include senior managers in transport sectors. And in order to help with its labor shortages, they're looking to add up to 125,000 jobs over the next decade.
How many jobs are being bled from the United States economy? What jobs are being created in the United States economy? Absolutely not. This link is in my description box. Please avail yourself to it. There's one more thing I want to present about these Iran strikes. Here we go. Jeffrey Sachs is absolutely pissed.
This new pickpocket method is spreading.
He's absolutely pissed about what is going on and how these strikes are being framed. Let's go to him. If you don't know Jeffrey Sachs, he is a professor. Yes, I think he's I don't know if he's an economist, but I do know he's a professor. Let's get into this. This is also going to be under Iran strikes in my description box. Okay, let's get into this.
He's a deep, dark. The guy's nothing if not obsessive. And he's still trying to get us to fight Iran this day.
He's speaking about Netanyahu right here.
This week. He's a deep, dark son of a bitch. Tell you. Because he's gotten us into endless wars, and because of the power of all of this in the U.S. politics, he's gotten his way. But that war was totally phony. So what is this democracy versus dictatorship? Come on. These are not even sensible terms. And even if they were sensible terms, under the UN Charter, we can have our democracy. You do what you want. I'd love for the United States to be a functioning democracy and to be a good example for other countries. I don't believe the U.S. has any right or any ability to put in place a democracy in any other country. Nor do I believe, by the way, that American democracy functions as a real democracy anymore on the life and death issues. Nobody has asked the American people anything about all these wars for decades. And by the way, I can tell you, and I'm telling you authoritatively and truly, they lie about every goddamn thing about these wars. And so that's not democracy either. Everything is phony. Everything is narrative. And so on the war and peace issues, the public has no say at all. If you were to ask the American people now, and in fact, Gallup does, do you support Biden's foreign policy? I think the support is, you can look it up, 25 to 35% perhaps. I don't even think it reaches 35%. Where's the democracy in this? It's a game. This is the deep state, and they have their wars, and every war has been phony. Some wars the American people are basically never told about. For example, the war in Syria. And you may actually hear from grown-up reporters who are lying through their teeth or ignorant beyond imagining that, oh, the war in Syria, yes, Russia intervened in Syria. Well, do you know that that Obama tasked the CIA to overthrow the Syrian government, starting 4 years before Russia intervened? What kind of nonsense is that? And how many times did the New York Times report on Operation Timber Sycamore, which was the presidential order to the CIA to overthrow Bashar al-Assad? 3 times in 10 years. This is not democracy. This is a game. And it's a game of narrative. Why did the U.S. invade Iraq in 2003? Well, first of all, it was completely phony pretenses. It wasn't, oh, we were so wrong, they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. They actually did focus groups in the fall of 2002 to find out what would sell that war to the American people. Abe Schultzke, if you want to know the name of the PR genius. They did focus groups on the war. They wanted the war all the time. They had to figure out how to sell the war to the American people, how to scare the shit out of the American people. It was a phony war. Where did that war come from? You know what? It's quite surprising. That war came from Netanyahu, actually. You know that? It's weird. And the way it is that Netanyahu had from 1995 onward the theory that the only way we're going to get rid of Hamas and Hezbollah is by toppling the governments that support them. That's Iraq.
There's a lot there. If you're not up on the Epstein files, you understand that there are a lot of rich and powerful people in the Epstein files. There is a painting of George W. Bush by one of the girls. They were a pair of sisters. One of them was an artist, and conveniently, she has a work of art that is actually in the Epstein file of George W. Bush sitting on the floor of the Oval Office like a child with some Jenga blocks crumbled at his feet and flying a paper airplane. So this is being interpreted as that the government was in on what happened to the Twin Towers. Also, conveniently, if you are not familiar with what is that? Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, who lived next door to Epstein and said, I met him and I just took a tour of his house, and me and my wife looked at each other and we was like, oh, he's yucky, and we'll never go over here and meet him again. And then conveniently, he had to testify before Congress and had to admit that he's a fucking liar. And he is the Commerce Secretary under 4547. He has had business with Jeffrey Epstein after this meeting that he said he would never meet with him again because he was yucky. There is, I think I saw this. I'll tell you where I saw this at. There's a little a face mask that was pictured on Jeffrey Epstein's wall that looked strangely like Howard Lutnick. They have taken pictures of all these different masks he has on his wall, and one of them looks like Howard Lutnick. And when he testified before Congress, he had to admit that he lied when he sat down with reporters, and he put out that he thought he was disgusting and never wanted to have anything to do with him. But he took himself and his whole family over to the Epstein Island. He took his whole family over to Assault Island, and he tried to belittle that. But you can't belittle that because you said you didn't want to have anything else to do with him. Now, oh, well, I can't remember why I went, but I just went over there for 1 hour, and I had my wife and my children and my nannies, plural, and my nannies, and we were there for 1 hour. And you were there for exactly 1 hour. And then we left, and all of my nannies and my wife, and we left. Coincidentally, um, Lex Wexner, the benefactor, the great benefactor that gave Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney over all of his billions of dollars, and they went and they questioned Lex Wexner under oath. They had to go to Ohio to question Wexner. Now, understand that what is that? Fucking uh, uh, Ohio senator. Oh, I forget his name. I cannot believe I forgot his name. The one who was in the wrestling, who didn't report that wrestlers were coming to him when he was over the Ohio State wrestling team, telling him that they were being SA'd by the wrestling doctor. You know who didn't show up for his subpoena, who was over the Pam Bimbo testimony where she was acting a fool and not answering questions. The blonde guy. Oh God. Anyway, so he is the senator of Ohio. Do you understand that when they went to question Wexner under oath, not one Republican senator went to Ohio to question him? And do you wonder why our senators had to go all the way out to Ohio to question him in the first place? Now, Lex Wexner, where Jeffrey Epstein used to live in what they call the Wexner's guest house, a whole nother mansion, because Wexner's mansion is so huge, and he and Jeffrey Epstein was buying up a property, not no little ranch style houses. No, they were buying up mansions and tearing them down, brand new houses. I covered this on my show over a year ago because I didn't know that this was going to go there. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't even on the radar, but Jeffrey Epstein left to go to check himself into prison from Wexner's guest house, another huge mansion. Now they were buying up mansions and selling them for more profit to create what in Ohio? Data centers. And they have stripped that whole area around Les Wexner's mansion down and sold it to other billionaires to create all of these warehouses and data centers. So now all of a sudden, when Congress is the senators out there questioning Wexner under oath, he has no idea who Jeffrey Epstein is, and he doesn't know how he made his money. And, I barely know the guy. I barely know the guy that I gave power of attorney over my billions of dollars. I barely know his. In one of the questions, he was being questioned, and his lawyer leaned over to him and said on a hot mic, I threatened him to not answer any questions in over 5 words. Do not use over 5 words. We've talked about this. Don't answer questions using over 5 words. Okay. So, uh, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? So, it is also actually reported that Steve Net, what is it? Steve. No, I'm saying I'm thinking about Steve Whitcroft, uh, the Commerce Secretary. Now he is he was the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald on 9/11. Their offices were located in the World Trade Center towers. So this man who testified in front of this Senate, who said that he had several nannies. Uh, Curiously, the day of the September 11th attacks, curiously, something that he has never done before, something that he has a hard time explaining. Curiously, this man with several nannies decided to take his child not to kindergarten, first day of kindergarten, the first day of pre-K or nursery school or some shit upon his wife's insistence, and he just happened to be out of the office the day that the World Trade Center towers went down. Now, curiously as well, they were talking to him on the day that the World Trade Towers went down. And he had a nervous laugh and this fake concern and almost crying, uh, uh, teetering to almost crying and nervous laughter, talking about the over 650 employers at Cantor. I think it was Cantor Fitzgerald who lost their lives in the 9/11 attacks, but he miraculously just happened to have to take his child to his first day of school, something he's never done before. So there are a lot of questions about who are pushing buttons in a lot of the shit that goes on in this world. Now, he also Howard Lutnick also said that he made the announcement in a shaky voice and an excited voice, and I also heard that the insurance companies they're willing to they're willing to mark these deaths as accidents. So they'll get be they told me that they'll be getting twice the payout for the lives lost. So I understand that you're a money man, but the only thing that he said about the loss of lives of his employees was their lives were lost, and the insurance company were going to pay them double for accidental death. That's all he had to say about his employees. That's all that his employees equated to him. And I wasn't there, and over 650 people lost their lives, and the insurance company said that they're going to pay them double. Now, he said that that's something like 35. I didn't do the calculations. Let me do the calculation. He said that that was something like 35 million, divided around by 650 employees. And he said, unfortunately, that means that they are only going to get about $50,000 a piece. So double the insurance payoff. He said that that would equate to $50,000 a piece. That doesn't make sense to me. If they were dividing 35 million, hold on, let me find my calculator. Hold on. Let's do the math. Let's do the math. This is what Howard Lutnick, uh, the Commerce Secretary, who was head of Cantor Fitzgerald, had to say about his employees. Let's say 35 million. 35. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me do it. Okay, let's see what that is. Hold on. I did it wrong. Hold on. Let's see if he was right. Oh yeah. Well, that comes out to $53,846.15. Oh, so he wasn't far off there. So my whole runaround in this is they're saying that these people in these Epstein files are privy to a lot of things, a lot of calamities that go on in this world, and they profit off of it. Now, why do I say they profit off of it after I just told you about this insurance payoff? It comes to find out that most of that $35 million payout that was supposed to be double indemnity because the employees lost their lives in an accident. It is reported that a lot of most of that money went to administrative fees. What administration? What administrative fees did these most of that $35 million go to? It doesn't seem like anyone has been able to figure that out. Where did I hear all of this? You guys have to check out Sabby Sabs. Let me drop her link in the description box. She went well into this. Let me give you her link. I'm going to drop her link in the chat as well. Let me if you're not familiar with Sabby Sabs, you will also get your life on all of the stuff that is coming out about the little housewife, the little trad wife of Charlie Kirk. You will find out the woman who only wanted to be married to Charlie Kirk and only wanted to didn't want to date and didn't find it important to go out on drinking dates and all of this. You will find out a lot of truth about the Mrs. Kirk. You will find out a lot of her connection to Israel, her family's connection to Israel. You will find out a lot about how certain people in her family always had every job that they had was a CEO or an executive or some high executive, even though they've never worked in these industries. And from all of these industries, allegedly, they had done a lot of theft and crimes and schemes and crooked shit. And they continue to excel in life. They even had a position at the college where Charlie Kirk was shot at. This person in Erica Kirk's life. This uncle, I think that it's an uncle via marriage. If you have not gone over to Sabby Sabs, I'm going to drop her link right here. You should check her out. She's talking about Prince Andrew arrested. She's talking about something else I'm going to talk about. Uh, Epstein's hunted black people. You should definitely read into the Epstein files where they disclose where they were hunting black people, not hunting them for sexual favors. No, actually physically hunting them like animals. That is in the Epstein files. If your for-profit media haven't disclosed those portions of the Epstein files, go over to Sabby Sab. She will disclose them for you. And Erica Kirk shot. Now, if you also are unaware, Tucker Carlson was detained in Israel because he and Mike Huckabee, you know, Mike Huckabee, who says that Palestinian is not a true state and Palestine is actually the land of Samaria, and so he don't give a fuck about what happened to Palestine because Palestine is the land of the Jew. When in fact, the Jewish people just settled in that part of the world. I think it was in 1942 or 49 somewhere in between there when they created Israel. But now all of a sudden, Mike Huckabee, this great Christian pastor, is telling you, no, that's the land of Samaria, and it was always intended for the Jewish people, and this is their land. This Mike Huckabee, he and Tucker Carlson had been going back and forth about uh, Israel, Israel allegedly dispelling a Christian from Israel, and they had been having a back and forth. I don't listen to Tucker Carlson. I can just tell you what their argument has reported to have been about Christians being expelled from Israel, and Tucker Carlson was saying how heinous this was, and Mike Huckabee was denying that this was happening. Understand that Mike Huckabee is supposed to be a some type of Baptist preacher or some shit. He's definitely a fucking ass licker of Benjamin Netanyahu, but that's neither here nor there. So Tucker Carlson and he have been going back and forth, and he told Tucker Carlson, well, why don't you come and we can sit down and have a talk about it. Now, for some reason, Tucker Carlson took his ass over to Tel Aviv. And when he got ready to leave, he was detained by Israeli officials. And his producer was taken into a back room and questioned about exactly what did you talk to Mike Huckabee about. But Mike Huckabee is the ambassador to Israel from the United States. So it seems like if the Israeli government wanted to know what Mike Huckabee talked to a reporter from the United States about, the easiest thing for them to do would talk to the ambassador to Israel from the United States, as opposed to detaining a reporter. Now, I don't have it for Tucker Carlson at all, but I'm just telling you all of the things, all of the fucking shady things. How dare you how dare you say something that we don't like? We're going to create a reason for you to come to our country, and we're going to give you fair warning. See, you're going to get a bigger warning than those Palestinian press got. You know, over 200 Palestinian members of the press lost their life in this we have the right to protect ourselves after October 7th full assault on Palestine. So Tucker Carlson is very lucky to have left with his life. Okay, let me all of that shit I got from Sabby Sab, which goes back to all of the stuff that you are not seeing that is being presented in these Epstein files. Let me drop her link in the chat for you. Please go over there after I get finished talking to you and check out all of the information she is dropped. She routinely drops, let me see. And the reason that I like her so much is she drops the paperwork as well. See, if you can't drop the paperwork, why drop the story? So that's why I drop my links to where I get my stories from. You do with it as you choose. But I just want to give you the information. There is her link. Go over there and check her out. Now, she also talks about, now, she's far from a conspiracy theorist. Let's get that 100% straight. Because she's talking about things that she has evidence of. She does not sit out and put out hyperbole. She just works from the facts that she has in front of her. Let's get back to Jeffrey Sachs.
Syria, and Iran. And the guy's nothing if not obsessed. You know that? It's weird. And the way it is that Netanyahu had from 1995 onward the theory that the only way we're going to get rid of Hamas and Hezbollah is by toppling the governments that support them. That's Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And the guy's nothing if not obsessive. And he's still trying to get us to fight Iran this day, this week. He's a deep, dark son of a bitch, sorry to tell you. because he's gotten us into endless wars and because of the power of all of this in the U.S. politics, he's gotten his way. But that war was totally phony. So what is this democracy versus dictatorship? Come on. These are not even sensible terms. And even if they were sensible terms, under the UN Charter, we can have our democracy. You do what you want. It happens to be the case that China has had a centralized administrative state for 2,245 years, ever since Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi unified the Qin dynasty. There have been a few periods of disintegration of the dynasties, but if you look through the Qin, the Han, the Tang, the Song, the Ming, the Qing, till today, till the PRC, this is the same structure, by the way. This is an administrative state ruling over almost the same region, by the way, for more than 2,000 years. So, and by the way, it has been wondrously effective for a long time at keeping the internal peace. China's only wars were nomadic invasions from the steppelands in the north. And then one crazed, well, then the Mongols invading, that's part of that, and one absolutely crazed shogun in the 1590s trying to take over China, and he made it as far as Korea and was killed. Other than that, this has been actually exceptional statecraft until Britain had the genius idea of fighting a war to sell opium in China in 1839. One of the most noble efforts imaginable. That started the modern era of China. So I don't buy it at all. But even if it were true, it's illegal under international law, unwise, and, look at the great accomplishment of pouring in, I don't know how many hundreds of billions of dollars into Afghanistan for 20 years to get from the Taliban regime to the Taliban regime. This is American genius at democracy promotion. They don't care at all about democracy, by the way, at all. They topple governments they don't like that won't do their bidding. They topple democracies if they don't like them. They'll topple anybody that they don't like. That's how it's worked all along. They never said, oh, we can't topple Mossadegh in 1953. He's a democratic government. No, they toppled a democratic government in Iran and put in a police state, which led to wonderful long-term relations with Iran because they really love the American people for that. So this is not about democracy. This is a game, and it's a terrible game, and it's a secret game, and it's played by the CIA, which is the most important agency in the United States, because they have complete secrecy, complete unaccountability. There was one review of the CIA 49 years ago, the Church Committee, and nothing since then. And as one of our CIA directors, they're all, I was going to say one of the worst, but they're all the same by the time they get there, or by the time they leave there, because the agency takes them over. Pompeo said, as he was proudly explaining the role of the CIA to some Texas students a few years ago, and you can find it online, he said, what do we teach at the CIA? To lie, cheat, and steal. And that's a pretty good encapsulation of the methodology. And that is a very dangerous world being created that way. So China's not going to turn the U.S. into a dictatorship. Maybe the U.S. will turn into a dictatorship. Maybe it will just turn into a plain old plutocracy. Maybe it will turn into a military-industrial state as the complete dominance. I don't know. But it's not going to come from China. It's going to come from inside. That's where our risk is. AIPAC, of course, is the Israel lobby. It's been extremely influential for decades. It's a significant campaign funder, but it's also one of the paradoxes of American power, which is that a few $100 million buys tens of billions of dollars of U.S. response. Basically, our Congress sells itself for very cheap. If you have, a few $100 million, you too can buy American foreign policy. So this is the ironic part of this. What to do? My view is that this will change, actually, but I want it to change fast because the danger is very high, and literally every day Netanyahu is trying to provoke a war with Iran right now, which could quickly escalate into something absolutely awful. I think two things can change this. One is American public opinion, which I say doesn't count for very much in these issues, but is absolutely against what Israel's doing. And this has been a shocking period. It's so vulgar, it's so out there, the bombing is so relentless, the viciousness of it is so terrible that it has shocked the American people, especially young people, but actually the few times I've said that on air, lots of older people have written to me indignantly saying, I'm against Israel too, what it's doing. So it's actually a pretty widespread view. The second thing is that world opinion is shocked. And not only world opinion, political opinion worldwide. So I hang out at the UN. Israel has no backing at the UN for what it's doing. What it has.
And so why again do you think that Israel is taking the backseat to the second round of bombing Iran? Because they are being viewed unfavorably across the nation. This link is in my description box. Now let me go back up to a comment from someone who I had to ban from my chat for being a dumb fuck. One shot, one thrill 84 said something absolutely stupid in my chat about tariffs. He said that tariffs, what did he say? What did he say? Let me see. About tariffs. Here's what he said. Tariffs are bringing investment into America. This is what this idiot said. So I asked him one simple question. Was he able to answer this question? Name one investment that tariffs have brought back to America. I'll wait. What was his response? What was his response? Tariffs have bought over 2.1 trillion in future investment in AI and chip manufacturing and Microsoft. So one specific example. When I already told you, as far as AI, Elon Musk is going to Korea, looking to employ Korean workers to work on its advanced AI chip. So I don't know what this person thought that they were saying. He said they bought over 2.1 trillion in future investments. What is a future? So that means that is a promise. We are shaking your hand with one hand, and we have our fingers crossed behind our backs with another hand. It's a future investment. But what your comment was is that. What was his comment? Was. Oh, but his comment was tariffs are bringing investment into America. But he had no example of an investment that has been bought back into America. Then he goes on to talk about future investments. Tariffs have bought nothing to America. Nothing, absolutely nothing. This is the double talk of idiots that I'm speaking of. So I would be remiss. I would be remiss if I did not share this little tidbit of breaking news information for you. Unfortunately, I had to. Unfortunately, I had to ban a slow motherfucker from my chat because I told slow motherfuckers don't curse in my chat. We can agree to disagree, but don't be disrespectful in my chat. But they chose to do both things, and now they are about to be smashed on by some facts I'm sure that they will not like. So the Supreme Court has ruled on the legality of 4547 tariffs. Since that dumb motherfucker wanted to come in here and thought that he was talking to some dumb bitch. like his mama.
Supreme Court has struck. We have breaking news this afternoon, this morning. The United States Supreme Court has struck down Donald Trump's tariffs, a massive blow to the administration, the biggest loss to date in front of a conservative Supreme Court that Donald Trump had hoped would uphold his marquee economic policy. Donald Trump is furious right now. He is calling it a disgrace, saying that he has a backup plan. But the truth is, this just ended Donald Trump's first year of his presidency in a lot of ways. His presidency has been defined by tariffs and, well, can't do them anymore. Now, I just spent the past 30 minutes reviewing this 170-page Supreme Court opinion, which is why it took me a little longer to get this up for you. So I want to go through the opinion with you. I want to talk through what this means for you as well, because it's going to have significant reverberating effects for months, years to come. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The more you like, the more people see this. And subscribe to my Substack. Click the link below to support my work. So the case is Learning Resources Incorporated versus Trump, President of the United States. Learning Resources is essentially a company that was impacted by Donald Trump's tariffs. The top line for you to know is that it was a 6-3 decision.
So let me give you three numbers: 28, 99, and 150,000.
6 conservative justices in the majority, 6 justices in the majority, including multiple conservative justices, 3 conservative justices in the dissenting in the minority. The 6 in the majority are Justice Roberts, Justice Barrett, Justice Gorsuch, Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson. Dissenting, who would have upheld Trump's power to do these tariffs, Kavanaugh, Thomas, Alito. So not a huge surprise in the dissenters. It's
not a huge surprise in the dissenters. If you guys are also unaware that in the Epstein files, there is some talk about Thomas being in the Epstein files, and there is a allegation in these Epstein files that have been released that Thomas actually physically intimately assaulted a 4-year-old. These are in the Epstein files. I'm just giving you what I have read that has come out of the Epstein files that has been reported on. I didn't read this. I didn't go through the Epstein file myself. This was a presentation of what has been alleged in the Epstein files. I think I actually have the reporting for this. I was going to share with you later, but since we're here.
pretty big surprise that Gorsuch, in my opinion, joined the majority opinion. But based on oral argument, it's not as big of a surprise. So let's kind of go through the top lines of this opinion and what it means for you. So the question presented is whether or not the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA, authorizes the president to impose tariffs. That's what the Supreme Court was deciding. Donald Trump imposed blanket tariffs on nations across the globe, including a 25% duty on Canadian goods, Mexican imports, and a 10% duty on most Chinese imports. And then 10% on another dozen nations or so. Since imposing each set of tariffs, the president has issued several increases, reductions, and other modifications. Learning Resources filed a lawsuit saying that the IEEPA does not authorize the reciprocal tariffs. The plaintiffs sued in the District of Columbia. The court denied the government's motion to transfer the case to the Court of International Trade, granted their motion for a preliminary injunction. The ultimate holding is that the IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs, which is a pretty landmark ruling, and it's a precedent-setting ruling because future presidents cannot use this Emergency Powers Act to impose tariffs. In layman's terms, the IEEPA is a statute that Trump tried to say, well, we have a national emergency. We have a national emergency regarding drug trafficking. We have a national emergency regarding this reciprocal unbalanced trade. And so I'm going to use this IEEPA to authorize tariffs because traditionally, tariffs can only be authorized by Congress. And Congress obviously didn't vote to approve tariffs. So Trump tried to go around Congress by using the IEEPA. The Chief Justice says no. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution specifies that the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. The framers recognized the unique importance of this taxing power, a power which clearly includes the power to impose tariffs. The framers did not vest any part of the taxing power in the executive branch. The government thus concedes that the president enjoys no inherent authority to impose tariffs during peacetime. It instead relies exclusively on IEEPA to defend the challenged tariffs. It reads the words regulate and importation to effect a sweeping delegation of Congress's power to set tariff policy, authorizing the president to impose tariffs of unlimited amount and duration on any product from any country. Against the backdrop of clear and limited delegations, the government reads IEEPA to give president power to unilaterally impose unbounded tariffs and change them at will. That view would represent a transformative expansion of the president's authority over tariff policy. It is also telling that that in IEEPA's half-century of existence, no president has invoked the statute to impose any tariffs, let alone tariffs of this magnitude and scope. Quote, that lack of historical precedent, coupled with the breadth of authority that the president now claims, suggests that the tariffs extend beyond the president's legitimate reach. Okay, let's break this down a little bit for you.
An IQ of 85 to 115 is considered.
Okay, there's the ruling. If you want to hear the breakdown, it is in my description box under tariffs struck down. Tariffs are struck down. Now all of those we have collected $500 trillion in tariffs, and America is hot again. When I came in office, we were dying, and we have collected 300 trillion. We have collected 21 trillion. How's the tariff? We're gonna take the money off the tariff shelf, and we're gonna pay for this, that, and the other. How's the tariff shelf? How much money? Oh, we have more money to add to the shelf, sir. We're doing fabulous. As Americans are suffering under wealth, the wealth gap between the billionaires and the working class people, wealth inequality. Okay, let's move forward. There is some more things. All of the links that I share with you, remember, they are in my description box. I did the Jeffrey Sachs. If you want to see the rest of that interview, please avail yourself to my description box. Let's get into this new executive order that 4547 is enacting. And how is it going to affect you and how you live your life? If you're unaware, there is a new executive order. And the funny thing about it, this executive order that has nothing to do with immigration, this executive order may actually put ICE agents at the polling places. Let's get into they usually call it the North Pole. Let's get into the ICE polls. All of these links will be under the description in my description box under ICE polls, POLLS. Let me share this with you. If you are unaware of the new executive order, that 4547 just happens to feel that it's important, kind of like that tariff order that he could enact tariffs under some bullshit emergency. Drugs and fentanyl is coming over the border. You know, the same fentanyl that he told you that was being shipped from Venezuela, and you ain't heard a goddamn thing about fentanyl again. You know, that these illegal things that he always say that are emergencies and make these fucked up illegal executive orders about. So let's talk about this new executive order. Shall we?
All the ways in which Trump is trying to put his thumb on the scale and basically steal the 2026 midterms and definitely beyond that, the 2028 election. They know they are cooked in a free and fair election. So they are laying the groundwork already to do some funky ass shit and screw Democrats. Okay. Now there's a new way that they're trying to do that. So take a look at this. This is from a guy who's a data and political analyst, but he used to be an election official. Okay, he says, just spoke with the GOP operative who suggested this is a telegraph of the potentially incoming Trump executive order. An executive order cannot force states to compel voters to show ID to vote, but what they can do is to station federal agents at polling places who would conduct the ID check. So in other words, an illegal ID check. So here's what he says. He says,
So understand that who determines what is going to be a voting law at the polls is your state representatives. It is not a federal thing. But 4547 has devised a way that he plans to put ICE agents at the polls anyway, who would circumvent the rules of your state and ask you for your ID anyway as you go to your polling station, even if your state does not require you to show an ID. The Gestapo, you know, the Gestapo that you have seen shooting and killing American citizens, doing the things that are protected by the Constitution that American citizens are allowed to do. These are the people who 4547 will be installing at your place of polling. But if you've been listening to me, you already knew that this was going to happen. If you've been listening to a lot of not-for-profit media, if you choose to support this media, you can $RonyiQ. See, this is the shit that you're not going to see on network media. You're going to see all the both sidesism of shit on left-wing public media. You're going to see a whole lot of fucking propaganda on right-leaning media. But somewhere in the middle, there's always the truth. So let's hear a little bit more of this. This is in my description box under ICE polls.
Striker bill will be heard in the Arizona Senate tomorrow that would require county election officials to enter into an agreement with ICE, allowing them to enter vote centers and polling places. See, this is what I told you about. This is what I warned you about. Trump now, he has his own secret police. He has his own Gestapo. It's basically a paramilitary. They're totally unprofessional. They're untrained. They know they're Trump's shock troops. And so whatever he commands them to do, they're going to do. Look at Bavino. Look at Bavino. So unhinged and so insane that even after multiple murders, he's doubling down and tripling down to the point where Trump was the one who had to say, oh, you know what, let's send in Hamhead Homan because Hamhead Homan is theoretically a little more moderate. He's only 99% Hitler. Bavino's 100% Hitler. We're going to do that just for optics sake, right? There's nothing stopping Trump here except Trump. And what they're describing here is, hey, you need to work at the state level. You need to work with ICE at the federal level because they're going to be the ones. Trump is going to scream bloody murder. He's going to scream that there's fraud. And he's going to do it if there's a red mirage scenario, which is very likely, where Republicans are up and the vote on election day, but as soon as the mail-in votes come in, Democrats take a massive lead. They're just going to scream and cry and bitch and moan and whine and say, that's illegitimate. That's not real. That is vote dumps in the middle of the night. It's being stolen. It's being flipped. You got Hugo Chavez is flipping it even though he's dead. This is what they said in 2020. They're going to do it again for the midterms in 2026. And now his way of addressing it this time is, as soon as you start seeing Democrats take a lead because the mail-in votes are being counted, he's going to go, that's irregular. There's massive vote dumps for Democrats. It's fraudulent. I'm sending in ICE. Okay. And actually what they're describing here is a little different because what they're saying is just send in ICE to do illegal ID checks, which I don't know about you, but it's going to disincentivize some people from voting if they just see masked guys in fucking military gear holding guns at the polling place in the first place. That alone is going to lead to fewer people voting. And when you have an illegal ID check, that's also a problem, right? Especially because what do they want to do? They want you to have to show your fucking passport and your driver's license and in some cases your fucking birth certificate. They're trying to disenfranchise so many people with this SAVE Act bullshit, for example. But this is what we're looking at now. Trump has plans to have ICE there on election day, and then as soon as things start going the Democrats' way, he's going to do something drastic, okay? And as soon as they take the ballots or as soon as they take the machines, at any point, the election is tainted and we'll never know the true results. We never will. Because as soon as that chain of custody gets broken, then it's a crapshoot. And I don't trust these fucking people as far as I can throw them. This whole regime is full of criminals and liars. So this is red alert, y'all. Red alert. Absolute red alert is what we're talking about here, okay? I got to show you this too. This is about, you guys know how there was a right-wing asshole who bought the Dominion voting machines, right? And so they bought, the right-wing guy, MAGA guy, bought the Dominion voting machines and the company, and then they were involved in claiming some sort of fraud, which then allowed a Missouri federal judge that they shopped for, basically, to allow the feds to seize the Fulton County, Georgia ballots. So you see, it's already crazy that they're like finding weaknesses and exploiting loopholes to illegally seize the Fulton County, Georgia ballots from 2020. And my guess is what Trump is working on is he's going to come out there and say, or have Tulsi Gabbard come out there and say, oh, it turns out it was stolen in Fulton County, Georgia. And they're probably trying to convince Maduro to say, oh, yes, I helped steal the election for Biden in 2020 and to give him a lighter sentence for that. This is where we are now. Like, again, it's all happening. The idea that, oh, for once in his life, Trump is going to, see the light and decide I'm going to play it straight and be honest. And when I get blown out in the next election, I'll take it like a gentleman. It's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to happen. But listen to this. This is about Dominion voting machines and what happened since then. Here we go.
Okay, so we need to talk about something really quick. This is something everybody is going to need to participate in because unfortunately it's a big ask, but it's important. I've heard people talking recently about Executive Order 14248, which Trump signed last year. It sets a lot of new rules and precedents for how contests are conducted, but it says that states have to be in compliance with their contest machines, otherwise they will not receive funding for said contests. And of course, the people that are instantly considered in compliance with this is Liberty. Liberty was formerly Dominion, and they were purchased by a MAGA Trump humper. So now people are going to be encouraged to use Liberty. Some people are saying that any state that is not in compliance or using Liberty, their contest is going to be deemed illegitimate. It just means that they will be drastically reduced in their funding, which is going to hinder the process. But this still does not change the fact that none of us should be trusting Liberty as far as we can fucking throw them. Unfortunately, they were used in half of the states in 2024. Here is every state in the US that used them in 2024, back when they were still called Dominion. If you live in one of these states, you need to call your senators and your representatives, and you need to call your fucking governor and tell them to not use these machines.
I'm gonna show you how to take this old dresser drawer.
Let me get past this commercial. I apologize.
And turn.
You better check to make sure you're enrolled to vote, by the way. It's a huge thing. Definitely check to make sure you're enrolled to vote because they do ballot spoiling, they do ballot purging. They try to disenfranchise any Democratic voters. So if you're...
Okay, so there's that. That's the beginning of that. Let's get into some more why you should be concerned. Why you should be concerned. I have some more. Who is ICE? Why should you be concerned about ICE agents showing up at your poll stations? Let me refresh you.
They're wondering about if you take out your driver's license and if you got a little yellow star up on the right-hand corner, it means you've already got your real ID in place. That's all you need to be able to go in and vote.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the Midas Touch Network. That was Republican Senator Mike Rounds making the case for yellow stars on IDs. Where in history have we seen that before? I'm not calling Mike Rounds an anti-Semite, but at the very least, his comment betrays a deep ignorance of the historical significance of that symbol. For what it's worth, the real ID star on driver's licenses is not yellow. But the larger issue here is the demand by Republicans to pass federal legislation that would make it harder to vote because of specious claims of widespread election malfeasance. That kind of voter fraud isn't a thing that happens in America. We'll get into that in a minute. But the fear-mongering over this issue by Republicans works. And it works because Republicans have found a way to tie it to, you guessed it, immigration. Name just about any issue that they're losing on, cost of living, crime rates, voting rights. They will always try to...
And let's be clear that the most voter fraud that they have is less than 0.001%. And of that, it is overwhelmingly Republicans who are illegally voting for their dead wives, their dead parents. There was one person who registered their dog to vote Republican and got caught. All of these people have gotten caught, and overwhelmingly, these are Republicans trying to vote for other Republicans. Let's be clear.
Find an immigrant to scapegoat. I asked Chris Goldsmith to join me to unpack all this. Chris is an Army vet and the founder of Vets Fighting Fascism. Here's our conversation. Chris, welcome to the show. It feels like we have jumped straight past show me your papers to yellow stars. And maybe this was a slip of the tongue. It probably was a slip of the tongue, but you don't say yellow stars on your documents unless it's in the back of your head.
This is building off of a decade of conspiracy theories promoted by Donald Trump and those around him. Back to the first election that he won, he believed that millions of undocumented immigrants voted illegally in California. right? He put political capital into this. He hired Chris Kobach to do an investigation that, as far as I know, never actually happened. So because none of the conspiracy theory stuff has worked yet, they're trying to pass the SAVE Act, or the Save America Act, which would make it so that any woman who's been married and changed her name but hasn't updated her documents accordingly wouldn't be able to vote, right? They are trying to disenfranchise as many people as they can. And I think that Mike Rounds having this yellow star idea in his head as he was trying to explain the rationale behind this bullshit is pretty telling. He understands that he's trying to classify Americans as real Americans, the ones who support him and his party, and those who are not real Americans. And that is not what you or I fought for when we raised our right hands.
You have that actual.
And when in fact the real ID is not going to be suffice at all. So I don't even know why he is even talking about what color the star is on the real ID, because that is not acceptable. They are going to want a passport or birth certificate in your name that is that you have registered to vote under.
Language now being offered by administration officials. Kristi Noem talked about making sure the right people vote for the right candidate.
When it gets to election day, that we've been proactive to make sure that we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders to lead this country.
The Secretary of Homeland Security threatening people's right to vote if they're not voting for the right candidate. These aren't just fringe figures. These are cabinet secretaries talking about making sure Americans vote for the right people.
The entire plan that Stephen Miller has for ICE is to use them as an intimidation.
Not just only making sure the Americans vote for the right people. She said making sure the right people vote. So what if they feel like you are the wrong person, that you should not be voting? What about how they have always tried to disenfranchise a large swath of Black voters? Be it purging your names from the voter rolls, be it changing the maps in your districts. What about all of that disenfranchised? What about making sure the right person does not get a chance to vote, or the person that you feel that shouldn't get the chance to vote? What about making sure of that? That's what they're doing.
Force against voters from the primaries to the general election this year. They've been talking, Mike Flynn and Kash Patel, who, Kash Patel is now the FBI director. They've been talking about doing things like seizing ballots using the military. This is their QAnon fever dream that they've been stuck on for almost half a decade, or longer than half a decade now. So I think that Democrat-run states and states where people still care about democracy, as the Republicans in Georgia do and did when they stopped Trump from trying to steal the 2020 election, they need to start passing laws that makes it so that local law enforcement does not tolerate the things that happened in 2020, or does not tolerate ICE being, at or near polling stations under any circumstances. What I anticipate happening after the elections is Donald Trump will try to seize ballots, whether it's using the military or ICE, or calling in his friends, the Constitutional Sheriff's Association, or other unlawful militias. And that's what states need to start preparing for now. There needs to be laws passed that make it absolutely crystal clear that law enforcement must intervene.
Well, we don't need to anticipate Donald Trump seizing ballots. He just did it in Georgia at the Fulton County Elections Office. Granted, it wasn't during a recount. It was, at least the word inside DC, it was an attempt to mollify or feed his conspiracy theories about 2020. But it also feels like it might have been a practice run. Seizing ballots using the intelligence services. The director of national intelligence herself was there. It doesn't seem to be entirely backward looking. It felt like a dry run.
Hey, it's Hakeem Jeffries with an urgent message. Donald Trump and his allies are testing the limits of.
Yeah, I think that you're right about that. This is the way that Donald Trump desensitizes people to his extreme behavior. Is he takes a step over the line and takes a step over the line, and before you know it, the line that you originally drew is 10 miles back that way. And Donald Trump, using the FBI to go in to seize Fulton County ballots, it is going to make his audience expect and want this kind of, to demand this kind of thing happening. So, Director Tulsi Gabbard's involvement in this, I think, goes to show how how integral to this administration and its top leadership these conspiracy theories are. Under no circumstance does the DNI go on an FBI raid. Like that is not something I think has ever happened before. The only reason that it happened is because this administration is running not to produce outcomes, but to produce content. They want to tell a story. They want to tell lies to keep their cult, frothing and wanting for real election interference.
It's Ken Harbaugh with a quick break to tell you about something new coming to the Midas Touch Network. Midas Defense, serious coverage of the military.
Okay, that link is in the description box. If you want to avail yourself to it, go over there and check it out. It is under the title ICE Polls. Let's see these ICE agents again who will be out here regulating the elections. Introduce yourselves to your ICE people. Let's see who our ICE people are.
Police Department, you're under arrest. Just so you know, you're being recorded, sir. Right there? Yep. I got it.
This video comes from the Othello Police Department. The man being arrested is Kobe Williams. He was a supervisor with ICE. The Associated Press reports that in the year 2022, Williams was arrested in a sting by police in Othello, Washington, while going to a hotel room to meet who he thought was a 13-year-old girl. He'd arranged to pay for sex. Williams, seen here, was 49 at the time. Here's more from the outlet. Williams had driven his government vehicle, which was filled with cash, alcohol, pills, and Viagra, and was carrying his
cash, alcohol, pills, and Viagra. And he was actually a supervisor for ICE, going to meet a 13-year-old girl. Hello, ICE. This is who the Department of Homeland Security is employing and advancing. 22
badge and loaded government firearm. The 22-year ICE veteran offered a rationale that turned out to be a lie, that he was there to rescue the girl as part of a human trafficking investigation. Williams is serving prison time for what prosecutors would call a reprehensible abuse of power. In 2024, the Tri-City Herald reported Williams told his wife in a recorded jailhouse call after he was arrested in July 2022 that he'd been working on the human trafficking investigation based on a DEA tip. His excuse was that he planned to meet with the victim to give her a hotline help number. Vanessa R. Waldreff, the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington, would announce that Williams was sentenced on one count of attempted online enticement. Williams was convicted of this crime in May of 2024 following a jury trial, meaning they did not believe anything that he would present. United States District Judge Thomas O. Rice imposed a sentence of 135 months in federal prison to be followed by 15 years of supervised release. And how exactly did they get him? Justice.gov wrote, Williams replied to a decoy Craigslist post as part of an undercover law enforcement operation meant to identify individuals interested.
Got caught up in a sting. Okay, that is in my description box. Let's meet some more of these people who will be taking you into custody. Of these ICE buffoons. Well, let's look at some of their the heads of their leaderships.
Mr. Lyons, how many ICE agents have cameras as of today?
Sir, as of today, more than 3,000 ICE officers have cameras that are active in the field, with another 6,000 being deployed, sir.
So how many in the field? How many ICE agents are in the field as of today?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Agents in the field today?
You said agents in the field. I'm just trying to get the number of ICE agents who have cameras on their body as of today.
Approximately 3,000, sir.
3,000 out of how many?
Out of approximately 13,000, sir, that are in the field.
So you have 3,000.
So the ICE has one of the largest budgets in the world, but only 3,000 of the agents have body-worn cameras. These are the people who are going to be deploying out on you. We know that they are the ICE agents are supposed to be to rein in undocumented immigrants, but they're to make sure that only Americans are voting. They're sending ICE agents out to your American voting place. So if they have already wrangled up all the undocumented immigrants, who are they seeking ICE on? Because we know that only American citizens can vote. So the get around to pretend as if they're concerned about undocumented immigrants showing up, as if an undocumented immigrant would show up to the voting place in this atmosphere, as if that would even happen. But so we're going to quit playing games. They're sending the ICE agents out to harass American citizens at their polling places and to discourage some American citizens from even going to their polling places, because they have already demonstrated that they will take the lives of American citizens who don't follow whatever command that they tell them. Okay, those are your ICE agents. Let's see who's over the Department of Homeland Security. He gets a few questions.
Out of 13,000 who have cameras.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott?
I don't have the actual number in front of me right now. It's about 10,000. We're building that program out as we speak.
10,000 out of how many?
Out of about 67,000. But the
Out
catch
of-
there
out
is
of-
the ports of entry. We have significant video.
No, I don't want to go.
He said 10,000 out of 67,000 at first. He said we have about 10,000 who have cameras out of about 67,000. But watch this 67,000 change to 20,000. Let's go back.
About 67,000. But the
Out
catch
of-
there
out
is
of-
the ports of entry.
1,000 out of 13,000 who have cameras.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott?
I don't have the actual number in front of me right now. It's about 10,000. We're building that program out as we speak.
10,000 out of how many?
Out of about 67,000. But the
Out
catch
of-
there
out
is
of-
the ports of entry.
Out of 67,000.
We have
Nope,
significant
nope,
video.
nope. I don't want to go to ports of entry. I just want to know how many cameras right now do you have on your agents?
When you say agents, Border Patrol agents, there's about 10,000.
10,000
That's
out. 10,000 out of how many?
Out of 20,000 Border Patrol agents,
So half of them.
approximately.
You see how 67,000 agents went down to 20,000 agents? When we know that the Border Patrol agents are all throughout in all of our cities, are we not? Are we going to pretend that it was a Border Patrol agent who shot and killed the pretty guy? Those weren't ICE agents; those were Border Patrol agents. Okay, this is who's going to be over our elections. Now, this is kind of the Hegseth moment for the man who is over our Border Patrol. Let's see his Hegseth moment. If he will obey a unlawful order. Let's see. Is it here? No. Let's see his Hegseth moment. I think I have it. Oh, here we are. Will you obey a illegal order? Basically, is what is being asked. Everyone gets a Hegseth moment to see if you will take an illegal order. ICE at polling places. Here we go. Let me share this with you. This link is going to be in the description box under ICE polls, ICE at polling places.
So I have to ask Mr. Lyons, do you believe that ICE has the authority to be deployed to U.S. polling places around the country?
So, ma'am, we're civil. Obviously, we do civil enforcement and criminal law enforcement. There's no reason for us to deploy to a polling facility.
So
No.
if the President of the United